Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast. All the stuff we did not get to during the course of the show today. I do apologize. It's a little bit of a faster cast today because Betty Rock has to go to a class on training thing. It's how to attract men. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm on step 4. Honestly,
I
haven't seen a difference.
How many steps are there? Oh no,
a lot.
4.
Yeah. How's it working out?
Not so good.
Okay.
4.
What are you training for today?
So we have a compassion drive coming up,
fun.
and so we try to have a keyword set up and ready for you if you want to sponsor a kid. I like to have a key kid there ready for you
all the
to
time.
take.
Yeah, you own that.
And
well.
so they just take us through some training just to.
Because we have all these systems to do it, and you have to do it quickly.
And so I just need to be refurbished, rehashed on it all.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be next week. And so, hey, if you're a potty, don't let that stop you either. You can sponsor one of our kids that we met in Tanzania, and it was a great trip. I loved being there. I feel alive over there, man. It's pretty great. And so we'll get to share some stories about time and the people that we met there, and it just give you the opportunity to make a difference in the life of a child and completely change their lives. But the crazy thing about child sponsorship is it also can change your life if you let it, and that's the beautiful thing about it. It's reciprocal. And when you talk to these people and you hear them just being so thankful, and what's really amazing is it's like they don't go, oh, I'm so thankful for Betty in Nashville, Tennessee, like initially. Once you build that relationship with them, they talk about their sponsors and they share like what they're saying to them. But initially, the mom or the child will almost always be like, I am so thankful to God because someone cared about us. And like that's the way it's supposed to go because it strengthens their faith, all the while strengthening yours as well. So anyway, that's all next week, but that's a really cool thing. But that's the reason for the faster cast because that is something that is really, really, really important to us. And so we need to make sure that we do it and we serve these kids well and we get all the kids sponsored.
Because we're making it a faster cast, I have a story, but I turned it into a game.
Let's do it. I'll put my story away. Let's do yours.
I think that would be fun.
That's right.
Love it. What do you got?
Okay, so I was on the internet and looking at people sharing those sounds that when they hear them, it takes them back to their childhood. Now, I pulled three clips of audio.
Love it.
And I want to see if Gavin can guess because he was
just me.
You were born in 1995.
Yep.
And so I know.
Yeah, you're only 3 years older than my daughter.
So I want Gavin to guess first, and I need to have a guess, not an I don't know.
Yeah.
I want you to give me a guess.
I'll give it a swirl.
But then if you get it wrong, I'm going to let Wally see if he can figure it out.
Okay.
All right, let's go with the first one. See
Sound
if you know
number
what it is.
1. Yeah. You got it?
Oh wow, fax machine?
No.
Oh, that's a good question.
It sounded like
that's
a
a good
copier.
guess.
It sounded like something.
That is not it.
It's a real good guess, but I know exactly what
What
it
is
is.
it?
Dot matrix printer.
That's not a printer either.
What is it?
It's a floppy disk being read.
Whoa.
And like,
that was just before me and like computers. I didn't use those.
They used that sounded like one of the, well, it could be either one, the 3.5 one or that 5. Remember the 5-inch black ones, the real floppy disks? That preceded the hard little plastic ones.
All I remember are the hard little plastic ones.
Yeah. That sounded so much like a
CD
dot
cases.
matrix printer.
But I think what's so funny is that that's still the emblem for the icon for when you want to save something on your
on your Mac.
Tell me
Mac.
this. What did we use those for? Were they hard drives?
Storage.
I think they were the first like
thumb drive.
Thumb drive. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because
it wasn't something we had to use.
Yeah, you would save everything onto that floppy disk, and then you would put it in another computer. That's how you transfer files.
Okay.
There was no AirDrop. You couldn't email stuff because
just
you
compressed
could
it
literally
into...
email the tiniest stuff back then. So it would go on that drive, and then also too. But that's how all of your programs came. Now you download apps for your computer. Back then you got them all on either drive, like floppy disk drives or CD drives. That's how you put the programs on your computer. That's crazy.
All right, let's go with the next one.
All right, number 2. Oh, yeah.
I always hear that in space movies or sonar. Is that sonar?
No.
Is it sonar?
It is not sonar.
is
This
that?
one I absolutely know.
Okay, what is it?
That is your dial-up modem.
Yep.
That is the sound that AOL used to make.
Yes. And two, you could be
okay.
on the phone,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
your home phone line.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna have a landline phone. You could be in the middle of talking to Janice.
Yeah.
And all of a
Janice.
sudden you hear this going on, and you're like, "Mom, I'm on the phone."
Get off the internet! Because your internet was shared by your
The landline.
landline.
Ugh.
So you had, and for a while, you could only have one or the other. Then they had the DSL that came in where you actually could do like both. But until
Man,
then,
what a nightmare.
Yeah, and so that is the sound. When you wanted to log in, if you want to use the internet, you would have to like log into your modem, fire that up, then it would go through that whole process.
Forever.
And it was so slow. Like we take for granted how fast computers are today. Like back in the day, like the simplest thing took forever.
Yeah.
What's the third one?
All right, let's go with this
Ready?
one.
Right? We're just rewinding a VHS tape right there, correct?
Yes,
Is that
sir!
And I mean, you're speaking to
I'm speaking to
That's
a
him.
current
guy
VHS
that,
owner.
That's right. He has a VHS.
Yeah.
I probably
tape
I
player.
probably watched one more recently than
either of
anybody
us,
that
yeah.
I've
Yeah,
known.
Wally and I don't even own one, and you went to Goodwill specifically for one, right?
It's Haley's thing. She had a ton
funny.
of them. She has the player. We're trying to hook it up in our bedroom
That's
right now.
funny.
It's a good time.
I had I
That's
thought
how
that
I
was
grew
an
up.
old like film projector.
Sounds
Oh.
like
Like from like high school or the slide projector
I
they would
could
do.
hear that. But do you remember like when we were talking about Blockbuster
Yeah.
in that last break on the show? And I remember they always had the sticker that said, "Be kind, please
Rewind."
rewind."
Yeah.
And if you didn't, they put
$1.
an extra charge on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like because if you got one that wasn't rewound, you're always like, "Dadgummit." You sit there for 20 minutes waiting for it to rewind, and the tracking would always go off. You'd have to like sit there and play with your
that
VCR.
was annoying.
I remember when because I got to see all of this stuff really coming to fruition. Like 8-track tapes were at the end of my. The end of their run when I was young enough to like start enjoying music. Like I knew of them. I had a couple, but like in our cars we had cassette players. So that was the big advance in that. And cassette players were a pain. They'd come undone in your car. You'd have to take a pencil and rewind them and stuff. Giant pain. And so then CDs come out. And you're like, oh my gosh, this
You
is
can go
amazing.
to each track, and
Yeah.
it starts right then and there. With the tape, you just kept trying.
So great. Yeah, and you're like trying to get it right back to the beginning of something. And you're like, this is amazing. They're never going to replace this. And then downloading and then streaming.
Napster.
Yeah. Because like I fought like downloading for a while. Like I still wanted CDs, hard CDs.
That does not surprise me.
I know. I fight everything
And
like
it
that.
didn't take that. Well, it took a while because you had CD folders,
Yeah.
like things that you would bring in every
To the
single
show.
day.
Yeah.
And then I forget, was it Zach that put it all on a thumb drive?
Yeah.
He was like, "This is enough. You're done."
Because I would carry in just stacks of CDs, and then every once in a while you'd hear
You
me.
think you're being so cool and
know.
holding on to the
I
bitter
know.
end, but you just look dumb.
You'd hear me drop them and almost swear in the other room, like because they'd go everywhere.
You'd scratch them.
Oh yeah,
Like,
And-
dang it.
Yeah, because I thought it was still the best way because I could get to things quickly. Because in this job, you change. You're like,
Right.
oh, I need this bed, and I knew out of these like 13 CDs that I brought in, and then 2 books, I knew what's on every one
Right.
of them. I knew what to find, and then so putting it on a like the thumb drive. I still have to dial and find stuff, so it takes me longer to get to things sometimes.
We just have to get ahead.
But the
But it's
reason
better.
it takes longer is because you have dyslexia and you can't get your alphabet
My numbers.
right.
Yeah, I know. I
We
do
have
have to go A,
500
B, C, D, E, F, G as I'm doing it. I do it in my head as I'm going through the alphabet. I'm like, does L come before M? Wait.
Yeah.
And then when you're under pressure, it's worse.
A couple of other things that made the list were the clink of metal seatbelt buckles.
Yes.
Which
I do remember those.
oh,
Yeah.
you do? Okay.
Yeah, my dad's old Civic.
And then finally, a host, when you go into the restaurant and they say, "Would you like smoking or non-smoking?" That was a thing. I miss it.
Yeah.
I bet you do.
I do. Secondhand smoke.
It was the craziest thing. Yeah, you would go into a restaurant, and kids can't even fathom this today. But there was a whole section of sad people that couldn't get through a whole meal without lighting up, and they would smoke during dinner. And it's so funny because like this is our non-smoking section, this is our smoking section. You know what separates the two? A half wall. You know, like that was it. It was always a half wall. There was no
nothing.
draping,
There's
no
scientific
wall.
Nothing.
No,
Nope.
it all came over, so everything was bathed in
And it was
people's
when you could
smoke.
go to Waffle House and the cook would be smoking as they're grilling your they're making your waffles or your hash browns.
My
Oh,
first
great.
exposure to this was I moved because California has always been ahead of like really woke agendas and environmental stuff for the most part. So I moved to California. And we go, and I'm with the realtor because they moved me, and so we're looking at houses, and we go to this place, and I walk in, and I'm so used to Florida, which is barely a place, and like Florida's it's dodgy in like a lot of areas, for needing shirts and shoes and things like that to go into places, and so I walk in, and I'm like, hey, we need 3 for non-smoking, please. And the lady just looks at me baffled. Like she's trying to process words. Like I just spoke in a foreign language to her. And she's like, what do you mean non-smoking? I said, just not in the smoking section. She goes, it's all non-smoking. Like there's no smoking inside. I'm like, really? You need to go to Florida. It will be an eye-opener for you, lady, because Florida is not a thing, man. Like, is there no smoking at the catfish camp?
They just turned it
just
over
did?
this past month.
That
Okay.
checks. That's that late they held out.
Celebrate your birthday last
Yeah.
I was like, open up the smoking section.
Oh my
Danny
goodness.
Ray in there.
They held out for a long time. Holy cow.
Yeah, but that's just a different time. Like that bubble.
You're in a
is
time warp.
Yeah.
gonna
You
be
wouldn't get
different.
it.
Yeah.
I do like going into like there's a couple of stores here that are like pipe stores, like where not like head shops or like vape stores, but actual like people that love smoking pipes.
Classier.
And I went in to get a present for somebody that is a pipe smoker one time, and it does smell so good in there. And it's not because
It
then
does.
they have a smoking room, but it's all partitioned off and clean air filters and stuff like that. But like
Oh, how far we've come.
I know, but the
reason why
actual
they put it
smell
in,
is
like,
good.
a candle form. Like you can get the tobacco
Yeah.
candle, and when it's good, it's good. It's just not a fun, inhaling experience for me.
I get why people were really bent on vaping when it came out because they made like cotton candy flavor and things like that kids would be like, oh.
Watermelon.
And so kids don't see it as like a big deal. And you get to
Right.
blow this huge plume of smoke like, oh, it's got all the funness of it. But the craziest thing to me about vaping is you're creating this new thing. And so it's never been done before. And you have the option to build something that maybe is water vapor or what have you. I don't even know how it all fully works. But like it can have all these different tastes. You have the option to build something that is non-addictive and maybe isn't bad for your lungs. Yet they don't do that. Like they still chose to build something that's addictive and is not good for you. Like I don't understand like how that's possible. But maybe just sucking anything into your lungs is bad for you, I guess. It would be, other than air, it would seem problematic. But yeah, I'm like, you had a chance to do something new and you chose the wrong thing, you know, and keeping people addicted. Yeah, it's the right thing for your bottom line, but like it's on the human level, it's not a good thing.
Right.
That's one of those weird things too. When if you invest, like there are companies that will kind of like MediShare is a Christian healthcare company, and like you have to fill out all these waivers, and if you have certain things that you do that don't line up with biblical principles, they will not insure you. Certain lifestyles, or like if you smoke, things like that, you're not getting insured. And so it would be interesting that if you had, when you're investing, there are companies that will keep you out of other companies investing in them that don't align with biblical principles. Like if they support things that go against your values, then like they keep those out of their portfolios, which I think is kind of an interesting concept, because it's really easy to say, I take a stand against this, this, and this, but then you invest in the company and you make money off them. You know, I get the hypocrisy kind of that. And I've not invested in certain companies, even though it would have been a good investment, but I've not invested in them because I don't like what they do. Philip Morris is one of them. Like, I don't have Philip Morris in my profile, in my portfolio, but it's a company that will always be around. It's a company that plays on addictions and will always be there, and you'll always make money on it. But I'm like,
What do
nah,
they do?
I'm not going to do that. They're cigarettes.
Oh, okay.
They're one of, like, the biggest cigarette company.
Okay.
Philip Morris. So anyway, I think we need to. Oh, Betty Rock, you need to go.
Get you out
So do we have a birthday to
Nope.
tell him happy birthday?
right.
Then we don't have that. Don't have a question. And I'm sorry for the Aftercast being a little short today. But the other thing is super important, so we're going to make sure that we do that as well. So as always, thanks for being a potty.
Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.